Hi, thought I'd drop a quick vlog. I haven't been doing very well recently, but that's because of the time. Well, most likely the biggest contributing factor, as I know from my past experience, is my menstrual cycle. So in the run up to my period, I get far worse symptoms, more nerve pain, more tiredness. It's way easier to overdo things, and I'm on a very low dose of HRT, and my last relapse, I believe, was actually triggered by trying to come off HRT. I've read since that there's reasons why lots of women with MS are recommended to take HRT. Anyway, so I would ask that question of your healthcare professional if you're not sure, because it can really help. It can really protect your future health. Anyway, it's a discussion that's definitely worth having because it's often missed. I also was alerted to some very startling information. I've been on amitriptyline for a year now. 1 in 3 people with MS are on it, I believe, and really you need to question this. It's really important. What I urge you to do is look up Dr. Gavin Giovannoni, so it's an Italian surname. I'll turn away from the wind in case you're struggling to hear me. Giovannoni, Gavin Giovannoni. Look up his research and you can make up your own mind about it, but needless to say, for me it was strong enough evidence to take action. I've made a request of my doctor about it, and I just think it's shocking. It's just, anyway, so I found out about this because a good friend of mine recommended a different neurologist, and because I've been so unhappy with my MS team, I've made 2 formal complaints now because I wasn't supported or offered appropriate treatment when I needed it the most. And I can't emphasize what a negative impact that's had on my life, my mental health. I feel really let down, and I don't now particularly, I don't trust that the right thing is always done by me, and I question it, and I do my own research. And I think that is, if you can be proactive in your own autonomy, then it's really important to do so. To be questioning and, to have an idea of how you want to approach the situation. So as I've mentioned, a holistic approach is the one I'm choosing to take. I do take some drugs, but I'm choosing to optimize my situation and my future through my diet, reducing stress levels, meditating, trying to get enough sun exposure, but also where that isn't possible, I'm also backing everything up with vitamin D supplementation, which it's worth looking at the research on that. Overcoming MS will cover each of these topics. Then there's the fact that if you make a change in your life, you've got to do it for life, not just, this week I'm not eating dairy. You've got to make changes that you can sustain. That's what's really important. That's what will have a larger impact. Being active, exercising regularly, regarded as really, really important for people with MS. even if you have mobility issues, there are ways you can exercise generally, and you can always seek the help of a professional if you're not sure how to do that. What else? Getting your support network together and asking your family to help you, particularly things like dietary changes, because if you're eating different food to the rest of your family, that can be really difficult. But if they're willing to support you by making some changes themselves and recognising why you're making those changes, then that's really powerful in helping you actually sustain those changes moving forwards. There's probably some others I've forgotten, but anyway, as I say, the Overcoming MS programme, the website will go through each of the changes. There's 7 pillars that they say are really important in this holistic approach to living well with MS. Some people might find some of it a bit extreme, but it's very much about taking on what you can, what works for you, but understanding that there's nearly always sacrifices to make, but that they're worth it for the overall impact on your health and your health in the future. Anyway, so I'll go back to what I was saying. So please look up Dr. Gavin Giovannoni and his research on what type of drugs are safer for people with MS. Whether you're taking them for nerve pain. He may have something about disease modifying therapies, but the main thing, because this is what I've discovered recently, I think drugs given for nerve pain, they've changed a lot. The things that were prescribed commonly in the 1960s, obviously medicines come on a lot, and it might be very different and have very different risks associated with them compared to what is the right treatment now. So it's worth being questioning about that. I found out about that through a podcast. So he has some podcasts on Spotify you could listen to if, like me, you're struggling to read stuff. Anyway, check it out. See what you think. Somehow I've managed to talk for 8 minutes, and this is only going to be a quick one. Sorry about that. Anyway, take care of yourself. See you soon.